When it comes to a diagnosis, does it matter if it comes from a psychiatrist or a psychologist? And do they have to be board certified? In my area, we don't have board certified psychologists, just psychiatrists. So let's start with just breaking the comment down, and then we'll dive deeper into this. As far as the psychologist, psychiatrist goes, either of them are fine. The psychologist is like the talker. Psychiatrist writes prescriptions. Basically, either of them will work. And if they have if they're advertising that they're a psychologist and they're somehow not boardified, run. They're not a psychologist. They may be some kind of social worker. In America, you're only a board certified psychiatrist or a board certified psychologist. There is no kind of a psychiatrist or like one kind of doctor, MD doctor, not a junior MD. I hope that clears it up, because you want to open this up to the psychiatrist or psychologist in your area. That's actually going to help you with your claim. That's that could be the tough part, because these are treating physicians and they get a little weird when you're talking about veterans benefits and getting paid. Their job's to treat, not help you get paid. That's basically what that comes down to. And that's in the private world. In the VA world, there's conflicts of interest and all sorts of things. So if you have psychologists in your area of Montana or psychiatrists, either will work. Another thing that you could think about, and you don't want to limit yourself. We're trying to win our VA claim. That's the keep our eyes on the prize. So there's going to be hurdles for sure along the way. And this is a perfect example. That's why I'm bringing this one up. I'm limited on what's available to me. The goal is to win the claim. Don't be limited. So the way mental health works, you can get a board certified psychologist or psychiatrist anywhere in the country to diagnose you. Doesn't matter where you are or where they are. And the main reason for this, it's acceptable for rating purposes. So, we had the big bug a couple of years ago, but even before that, a psychiatrist can look at you, talk to you, ask you questions, and make a diagnosis, document your symptoms, write a nexus. They could do a thorough evaluation over telehealth. There's a bunch of different claims that are like this, where if you walk in, there's just not symptoms, right? Like GERD, sleep apnea, migraines. You just don't have those things when you walk into a C&P exam. So a lot of these things can be done online. So as this may seem strange, here's the contrast part. We all know and understand physical disabilities as human beings, especially as veterans. So when you're doing a orthopedic, something wrong with your foot, your leg, your knee, your shoulder, your back, they have to do a hands-on exam. So they have to actually go in, put this protractor thing on you called a goniometer, and actually do a range of motion test. So that can't be done over telehealth. So that's the big difference between the two. So if you're doing a mental health claim, don't limit yourself. Interview as many doctors as you want to till you find one you're comfortable with, and then go with that one. Now let's move on to some other thoughts about this comment. And I get it. It's tough to answer comments and ask questions in the comments, which is why I wanted to highlight this one. So the main part of the question is, I need a diagnosis. Will a psychiatrist work? I'm kind of limited in my area, so we covered that. Go way outside of your area. Use the entire United States. Call everybody you need to call. We covered the first part, the diagnosis. Yes, if you want to do it in your area, psychiatrist will work. If that psychiatrist won't help you, then use the entire United States and find one. The current diagnosis is one piece of a three-part process to win your claim, right? So you need a current diagnosis, you need current symptoms, and you need a nexus. So I would expand this question and say, good, now we answered the part about the diagnosis, but now you have one of three parts. You need to go get the nexus. So that's what you should be asking for. Will you write the nexus and give me the diagnosis? Because you're going to need both. Just a diagnosis is not going to win your claim. And you're going to a C&P exam, compensation and pension exam, and that guy is going to write a nexus, and he is going to confirm or deny your diagnosis. So if you don't provide a nexus, it's not clear how you're filing this claim. So as you're going through these 5 ways to establish service connection, a lot of these things kind of rule themselves out. Direct service connection claim. If you've been out longer than a year, it's going to be tougher. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying be aware of that, and it's kind of off the table. Secondary VA claims, by far the strongest way to go in all situations, regardless of your age and your situation, as long as you've been out longer than a year, because the nexus is more difficult. Pre-existing, if you didn't have a pre-existing mental health problem before you went in, then that's not even an option, right? So that one kind of rules itself out. Presumptive, no mental health claims are presumptive in any way, any nature. They're good secondaries to presumptive conditions, but that's off the table. And then we don't have an 1151 claim on our hands because the VA didn't saw our leg off yet. So right off the bat, this kind of narrows it down to direct or secondary. And depending on your situation and just what I know, we're talking about secondary claims. So now you figured out how you're going to file the claim. Do you have something to hook it onto? In order for a secondary claim to happen, you need to have something service connected, right? The service connection is the first piece. And then the second disability, the mental health, depression, was caused by the first piece, right? So you need a first before you have a second. So that's how that works. If you don't have anything service connected, then your only option is to file a direct service connection claim, maybe presumptive if you're, a small percentage of veterans that falls into one of those places. You need to get some points on the board. You need something service connected, even if it's at 0%. 0% for anything can have as many secondaries attached as possible. So we figured out which way we're going to go, secondary. We have the diagnosis. Now we need to make sure we get the nexus too. Now we have a sound claim. We have the best chance of winning by filing a secondary claim. We have a current diagnosis, current symptoms, and a nexus, which is all you need to win your claim. And you have a doctor writing your nexus for you because this is a medical battle done by doctors. So your doctors can battle their C&P examiner. So we're good there. Now we need to think about some other things. How is this mental health claim going to help you? So what is your current VA disability rating? Nothing, 0, 10, 20, it's in increments of 10. So you have somewhere between nothing and 100%. So when you file this claim and if you win it, what's that going to do for you? If you have a 40% rating and you win a 70% mental health rating on top of that, it's not additive. It's using the combined ratings table. So you will go up in that particular situation. How much is that what you're looking to do, right? You have to figure out how this is going to help you by filing any claim in the future. Because most of us are kind of, pissed off figuring out we've been underrated. So we want to get up to the maximum so we can get benefits for our family, ourselves. There's monthly compensation. Watch other videos. You know the deal. There's lots of advantages there. But where does it fit into your particular picture? Because a lot of times you're going to be at 70%, you're going to file another claim. And because the VA uses the combined ratings table and they round up and they round down, there's a lot of times when you could have a 70% rating and file a claim and win it for an additional 20% and you stay at 70. Educate yourself about the VA claims process. My boot camp will help. And use a VA disability calculator and just, kind of poke around and see. If you're filing claims that are exposing yourself to the VA and they're not actually moving you up, those are claims I would seriously look at not filing, to be honest with you. You don't need to expose yourself, like maximum risk, zero reward. So look at what you have, get your VA claims file, check everything out. And that brings me to the other thing. When you're getting a nexus and a diagnosis, that's positive medical evidence. This is a game of winning. That's just what this comes down to. You either win or you lose. There's two things that are happening in your claims file and on the record, right? You have positive medical evidence in there that supports your disability, or you have negative medical evidence that's contradicting your disability. Or there may be other things in there. They may think you're a malingerer, or who knows what they write down. But it's written down. It's good for you to get your VA claims file and look at what's in there. What are you up against? What can I use? What are the positive things? And then can I use these? You know, are they really positive, right? And then the negative stuff, and by the way, the positive stuff, it's just there and positive. It may be for another claim or something like that. It's not going to hurt you. It's the negative stuff you need to look out for. I'm filing this claim again. It's a supplemental claim. I've been denied 3 times. That's negative. That's something you need to overcome, and you would overcome that with a diagnosis and a nexus. So understanding what you're going up against, what they're using against you, because, you know, we talk in comments and on YouTube and all that kind of stuff, but the actual work that the VA rater is doing, it's all paperwork. They go look through your records and they make decisions based on notes. C&P examiner, you're talking to them, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. Those notes go to a VA rater and he's just looking at the notes. He's not, hey, how was old Combat Craig in that exam? He's just looking at the notes and he adjudicates the claim based on notes. So you want to see what kind of notes they're looking at when they're making a decision on your claim. And is that hurting you? And if so, how bad? And then how do you overcome it? And there's always a way to overcome negative medical evidence by supplementing the record with positive medical evidence. Let me jump in here real quick and tell you about my boot camp. If you want to learn more about the VA claims process, check out my boot camp. You can talk to me live. There's a link on the website. And in the description, combatcraig.com. And also, if you need medical evidence, like a nexus or documenting your symptoms properly, go to our website, combatcraig.com, and it says medteam/nexus letters. Click on that link, fill out the form, boom, you're done.